All right, I've compiled a great collection of fragrances for the guys to wear all throughout summertime. We've got freshies here. We've got also more deeper fragrances that I would consider perfect for summer. Find out about the fragrances coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. Summer's around the corner. Are you guys ready for it? You know I enjoy summer, but I don't enjoy the really hot temps. So I prefer cooler temps because hot temperatures are not my cup of tea, but I really love the summer months. I just wish it was a bit cooler sometimes, some places I travel to. But, you know, I enjoy wearing fragrances all year round, and some of the fragrances here are going to be perfect for summer. And there are freshies here. There's some citrusy fragrances that I want to highlight. We've got designers and niche. And we also have fragrances that lean, like they're unisex, but they lean masculine, and some specifically targeted to the guys. And there's a lot of fougères and vetiver fragrances here, and woods and spices, and a lot of aromatics. So let's get started with the list. We're going to the house of Boss Bottled first. It's Bold Citrus. This is a limited edition fragrance, and it's quite juicy and citrusy. There's a lot of lemons and bergamot here with Elemi, Geranium, Patchouli, and Vetiver. So it's getting earthy, woody, grassy in the dry down, but all very juicy, citrusy with aromatics thrown in. And the Elemi resin, if you're curious about that note, go catch my video about that note. You'll learn a little bit more. It really adds this kind of a spicy, peppery, citrusy edge to a lot of top notes and fragrances. So that's Boss Bottled Bold Citrus. Let me know if you're familiar with that. Moving on to the house of Hermes. It's H24 Herb Vive. This one right here. I really like this in the summertime. It's a cooling fragrance. It's aromatic and spicy and fruity as well, but there's a major cooling factor about it. It's got a lot of kind of a pear fruitiness in this. There's herbal notes, there's minty notes, and again, there's that ice cold cooling effect when you're wearing it because there's Pear Granita in here, and some kind of molecular notes that are not too familiar, but they're meant to smell like herbs and mint and things like that. I think this is my favorite flanker in the collection. Herb Vive from the house of Hermes in the H24 collection. That's the third in the series. Next, this might be a bit stronger than normal for a summertime fragrance, but I think it has an overdose of apples. It's juicy, drippy, also that crispness and greenness of apples. This is BRIONI's EDP Intense, this one right here. I really like this series. It's one of the best men's collection of fragrances. It's a bit mature and masculine. Well, it's men's fragrance, and it's definitely kind of on the masculine side compared to other men's collections, and I really love this one. This is my favorite in the series of 5 or 6 right now. I can't remember how many, but it's got the apples. It also has oud in here. It has Ambroxan, Saffron, Patchouli, vanilla, bergamot, tangerine, and pink pepper. So there's citruses for sure, and there's spices, of course, and musky notes in the dry down. But what really is great is how that apple, its juiciness and drippy wetness, is interacting with the oud in here. Really great fragrance, BRIONI EDP Intense. Let me know if you're familiar with that. Next, going to the house of Tom Ford. I've got 2 Tom Fords in the list here. I think they make some great, classy, masculine signature line fragrances. First of which, I think it's a unisex targeted offering, this one. It's COSTA AZZURRA Parfum. Really love that one. So it's a more deeper, intense ambery take on the Cypress note. And there's a major lemony edge about it. So it's fresh enough. For me, I think my favorite was the Aqua in this series, which was very, very fresh with the citrusiness of the notes with the Cypress's aromatic green touches. And here, it's just a lot more intense. And of course, I think you can totally wear this in the summertime, even though it's a, it's a parfum concentration. Just control your sprays. But with the kind of notes there are in here, you'll smell great and also have your fragrance last long. This is Tom Ford's COSTA AZZURRA Parfum. Let me know if you're familiar with that. And then this next fragrance from the house of AMOUAGE, I think it's become a number one. No, I wouldn't say number one. Definitely a top 5 from AMOUAGE. It's Beach Hut Man. So for a while, it was kind of discontinued, but I think that was because it was pulled from the States. I think it's pulled from the States, from the market, but I believe as a fragrance, it's still selling for the brand. My cap is a bit flimsy here. But to me, it's a really great aromatic fragrance, very spicy, very green and herbal. And there's ivy here, lots of it, mint here, lots of it. It's this combo of notes and ingredients that is basically giving you the intensity of this like very green, herbal, aromatic, viney, ivy kind of experience. It's super awesome, and the name doesn't really fit this fragrance for me. It's not a beach. Well, I don't know, maybe it is a beach hut. But to me, it's an overdose of aromatics and herbs and leaves and greenness. And I love the way it smells. It's such a fantastic fragrance. And I think it's a perfect summertime fragrance. It's Beach Hut Man, at least by the name it is, from the house of AMOUAGE. So that Beach Hut Man does have some kind of fougere-like qualities, but I wouldn't call it a 100% fougere, but this next one definitely is from the house of Tom Ford. Once again, it's Beau de Jour, this one right here. And Beau de Jour, definitely one of the best fougere fragrances from the designers. This used to be in the private blend, and they moved it into the signature line. And I'm glad they did that. I hope they do that more with some of their private blend collection fragrances. And I think if you're looking for a designer fragrance that has, you know, fougere, you know, touches, this is definitely one for you to try. It's overdosed with a lot of herbs. There's lots of lavender here. There's earthy notes of patchouli. There's rosemary, oakmoss, mint, basil, amber, geranium. It's an herb garden come to life in fougere barbershop style. And I think, you know, Tom Ford House did a great job on this one. Beau de Jour from the house of Tom Ford. Let me know if you're familiar with that. I think it's a great summer fragrance, but also all of these fragrances can be all year round experiences. But this next fragrance from the house of ORMONDE, it's the latest from the house. It's Vetiver. It's really like a spicy take on Vetiver. And as I was saying at the beginning, we've got lots of Vetiver focused fragrances in here, and also fougere type fragrances, and this is definitely a solid vetiver fragrance. If you caught my video with Linda of ORMONDE, we were talking about this one. There's a lot of Timur pepper spiciness here, and you'll really notice it. And I think the lime note, there's lime in this as well, really stands out and gives you that very invigorating spicy quality, and eventually settling to something with the grassy, earthy woodiness of the vetiver note. But there's a lot of vetiver here. There's Timur pepper, lime, sage, juniper, lavender, pepper, orange, jasmine. So it does have all these great notes together and has a bit of that aromatic herbal touches of the herbs that are in here. So you're kind of experiencing something very aromatic and spicy, and also overdosed with the grassy, woody earthiness of the vetiver. Great fragrance from the house of Vetiver, brand new. Let me know if you're familiar with that. Then we're going to the house of Lalique. It's Encre Indigo, this one right here. This hasn't fully gone down to like the really discounted prices of the Encre Noir series. I'm assuming it will sometime very, very soon. But I think Annick Menardo did a great job on this one, combining vetiver's smokiness with the smokiness of the tea. And, you know, once again, I think I wouldn't call this a freshie, but I wouldn't also call it something extremely deep. There's deep qualities, but in the end, it's a very cozy, smooth take on tea with the grassiness and the earthiness of the vetiver. Of course, the smokiness as well, because there is some smoky touches here. But there's aromatic notes and spices along the way as well. And it smells really, really fantastic. I really think it's a great fragrance. And I think if you're in the market for it, maybe wait for it to get down to the price point of a lot of other Lalique fragrances. But if you really want it, I think it totally is worth it for around $100, which is what I'm seeing it for. So that's Encre Indigo from the house of Lalique. Then we're going to the house of Zoologist Perfumes. Yes, I have a Zoologist Perfumes here, and I think this is a great fragrance that I've pulled, and I think it's perfect for a man to wear in the summertime. This is Dodo Jackfruit Edition. In the end, when I did my video on this and two other fragrances from Zoologist Perfumes, I was quite surprised at how great this is. I have smelled the previous edition, and it is a bit sweaty smelling. This one is like a fougere, basically. It's very green and fruity take on fougere, and there's jackfruit here and also turmeric, but a lot of lavender and geranium type notes. So those are typically found in fougere barbershop fragrances, and of course tonka beans as well. So it's kind of tropical, fruity, green, and spicy, but again, lots of the typical fougere notes of lavender, geranium, tonka. And you've got a really great creation here from, I'm forgetting the perfumer, I think it's Yves Cassar, is that his name? And it's an IFF perfumer, but if you like fougeres, definitely check this one out. I think it's a solid fragrance from that house of Zoologist perfumes. All right, up next, going to the house of Essential Parfums. It's Bois Imperial Extrait de Parfum. Have you guys gotten your nose on this one yet? I've been wearing some samples of this because, you know, we are featuring this in our kit, and I really like the longevity of it, and I think a little goes a long way with this one. It's a more potent version of the OG fragrance, which is the most popular in the collection at the House of Essential Parfums. And I also mentioned in a video with the owner of Essential Parfums, they're coming out with 2 more extracts. I mean, that's going to come out late in the year. In the meantime, this is a really quality offering. It's taken the original, the OG, into a more intense extrait, the parfum take of the fragrance. It's lots of woods, lots of spices, and of course there's some ambery touches and a little hint of rose in there as well. And if you're looking for something potent but woody, spicy, and a bit ambery, definitely check out Bois Imperial Extrait from the House of Essential Parfums. Then we're going to the House of Kajal. It's number 3, this one right here. And number 3 to me is something maybe potentially inspired by Tigar from the House of Bulgari, which I was going to feature here, but I decided to go with this one. I think it's a more intense take on Tigar, but also there's a creamy layer here. It's smoother, whereas for me, Tigar, I really love the way it smells. It's overdosed with Ambroxan, but it's quite dry on me. And longevity might be a bit of an issue, but here, the fact that it's creamy, there's a creamy underlying quality about it. It lasts a long time. It is Extrait de Parfum. I think it is Extrait de Parfum, right? Somewhere, maybe it's not. I think it's an eau de parfum, come to think of it. But for me, I get like extrait-like qualities, and it's super intense, and I love the way it smells. It smells great in the heat as well. Really nice projection and things like that. So if you've been looking for something that's like really potent with the kind of a theme of Tigar, definitely check out number 3. But in the end, it's lots of ginger, kind of zingy, kind of citrusy, spicy kind of notes combined together for a super sexy offering. So it's Kajal 3 from the House of Kajal. That is actually a unisex offering, but again, as I said, a lot of these fragrances are very masculine or masculine takes on fragrances. Some definitely targeted to men, but that is a unisex offering. But the next fragrance going to the House of Marc-Antoine Barrois. It's B683, this one right here. This is the fragrance that kickstarted Marc-Antoine Barrois' collection with collaborating with perfumer Quentin Biche. When this first came out, Quentin Biche was not really big name that he is today. It is definitely a very masculine take on a woody, spicy, ozonic violet fragrance. And again, it's super sexy and classy as well. And I think that Marc-Antoine Barrois started with a solid fragrance, but what he's really known for is Ganymede. And since Ganymede has similarities to the Bois Imperial, I felt like putting this one here just to, offer another solid masculine offering. A lot of woods and spices in here. And of course, as I said, the violet ozonic touches are really quite quality as well. And there's some leathery, stabs in here as well with some like saffron-y type notes and things like that. So it's B683 from the House of Marc-Antoine Barrois. Let me know if you're familiar with that. And then this next fragrance from the House of Diaz and Durga is Coriander. I actually really like this one. And coriander is a spice that I really, really enjoy. I don't see it much coming up in fragrances. And here they're paying tribute to this note here. And I love the way that the fragrance smells. If you've ever smelled the coriander, not the herb itself, but the little seeds, oh man, it's a very intoxicating smell. Nothing like the cilantro. But the seeds are amazing. And I think they've captured it perfectly here, because you get that kind of beautiful, spicy, slightly floral quality that the coriander seeds provides. I love the way it smells. And here, it's a very aromatic, spicy green take on a, masculine offering. I personally consider these kind of fragrances more masculine, even though this is a unisex targeted offering. And it smells great in the heat as well. The fragrance totally comes alive with all its herbs and spices and you name it, other notes that are in here. So if you haven't tried coriander, try it. I think you'll be satisfied, especially if you like, really spicy, aromatic, green-leaning fragrances for men. And even though I said for men, this is a unisex offering, but as I was saying, it's got those kind of notes that I associate with more masculine fragrances. Then moving on to the House of Clive Christian, this is Timeless, this one right here. You know what? I really, really think this is quality. It's got a bit of a, vintage classic touch with the way the fragrance is composed, but I love the lime note in here as well. And there's a lot of aromatics and spices in this as well. It's quite juicy with the citruses. It's a nice balance of aromatics and herbs and, spices, all rolled into a beautiful, gorgeous fragrance. And then, eventually it settles to some musky, ambery, leathery experience. But up top, it's so refreshing, so invigorating. I love that about this fragrance. This is Timeless from the house of Clive Christian. And then we're going to the house of Houbigant. This is Fougère Royale, this one right here. And Fougère Royale, to me, is a classic on its own. It was originally launched in the 1800s. Not the same fragrance. It was reformulated in 2010 and launched in this bottle. And definitely one of the best Fougère fragrances. And we've got two really quality Fougères here. We've got the Beau de Jour from the house of Tom Ford, and of course Fougère Royale from the house of Houbigant. So if you are a Fougère fan, definitely you need to get your nose on Fougère Royale because I love the way the fragrance is. It's a bit green, lots of aromatics, lots of them, citruses as well. So it's got some invigorating touches. And of course the tonka and the base notes with oak moss and things like that. And you also have the lavender, lots of lavender, geranium. Those are what are key notes for Fougères. And I love the smell of herbs, and Fougères are some of my favorite fragrances. Fougères in the 80s smelled a bit different. And again, this was an OG fragrance from the late 1800s, but they recreated it in 2010. It's so modern. So that's Fougère Royale from the house of Houbigant. And then we're going to the house of Xerjoff. It's Mephisto Gentle Uomo, this one right here. And this one is also, I actually really love the way how smooth it is. It's a very modern Fougère fragrance, but also very fresh and herbal. For me, it's almost like you're taking like you're at a lavender bush and you've picked a couple of the stems and you're rubbing your hands and that lavender essence is coming off on you. It's the way this fragrance wears. It's so amazing that way. But this has loads of lavender. There's orris here, sandalwood. There's grapefruit, violet, amber, and cedar. Fantastic fragrance from the house of Xerjoff. They did at one time have shaving products or men's skincare products with this particular fragrance as well. And I've used the beard oil from this as well. And it's so super potent and very luxurious and creamy. But Mephisto Gentle Uomo is awesome. If you haven't tried it, please do. I think you're going to love that one. So up next, going to the house of Maître Parfumeur Gantier. This is Parfum de Habit, this one right here. So Parfum de Habit is a great take on something like Habit Rouge from the house of Guerlain. And as I was mentioning my very long 2+ hour video of Guerlain fragrances, this is a great take on Habit Rouge. But it's not like the modern take on Habit Rouge right now. It's a bit more balanced. It's a bit more leather. But you've got that idea of Habit Rouge in here, and it's a fantastic, classy, gentlemanly fragrance. The leather is a bit more amped up in this version compared to the Guerlain fragrances in the Habit Rouge collection. Not like Rouge Privé though, but it's just a nice balance of the smoothness of all the notes like sandalwood, patchouli, vanilla, but there's also aromatics in here, and of course the leather. Really fantastic offering if you don't know this one. This is Parfum de Habit from the house of Maître Parfumeur Gantier. Then we're going to the house of Dior. It's Eau Sauvage. And I'm going with the Parfum here. Even though it's a Parfum concentration, I think you can get away with this one. It's got a lot of Elemi. Elemi is the top note mostly. It's a fresh, lemony, citrusy, spicy, pine-like, a bit smoky, peppery citrus thing. So it's got a lemony vibe, and I think it really complements the bergamot note in the top notes. I like that about this one, and I think it's a very classy fragrance. I don't know how long this fragrance is going to be around for. Is it going to get reformulated like Dior Homme Parfum did? So if you're a fan of this one, I'd say snatch up a bottle to have as a backup. But for me, I find it to be very classy and a really beefy take on the OG, but not like super cloying and overwhelming that you can't wear it in the summertime. So that's Eau Sauvage Parfum from the house of Dior. And we're getting a bit old school here from the house of Parfums de Nicolai. It's New York Intense, this one right here. This is a really classy, vintage-esque style fragrance, gentlemanly. And it reminds me a little bit of Bois de Portugal from the house of Creed. And I love that about it. It's oak mossy and, very, very, I guess it's a Chypre style for me, not necessarily a fougère, but it's a Chypre-esque type of fragrance because it has an overdose of oak moss. But if you haven't tried this one, please do. It's a very classy, gentlemanly fragrance. It has notes of bergamot, oak moss, lavender, citron, black pepper, cinnamon, cloves, civet, castoreum, vanilla, and incense. And you've got this thing here with warmth and also freshness. So it's kind of a combo of like warm style of fragrances and also fresh or cool style of fragrances together. And it smells fantastic. Totally takes me back to something like the 70s or the 80s. This is Parfum de Nicolai New York Intense. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. And speaking of Creed, we've got Royal Oud. I think this is one of the classiest fragrances from this house. In fact, it might be still my #1 favorite from this house, and it's oud, but it's more of woody notes rather than a real oud in this fragrance. I think the cedar note is pretty highlighted in here. It's got a lot of pink pepper. There's sandalwood, musk, angelica, galbanum, lemon, oud. I think it's a great classy offering. It's spicy, it's woody, it's fresh and green also, and there's a bitterness in here. The angelica provides its muskiness and powderiness and vegetal touches. Same with galbanum, but galbanum is a lot more greener than angelica here. So you've got this combination and a really fantastic smell. I just wish it was a bit more oomfier, but for me, it's so super classy. And when I wear this one also, I get a bit of smokiness when it's on skin, a bit like cigarette smoke and things like that. But I love this fragrance, Creed Royal Oud. I think it's perfect for a man to wear in the summertime. And I'm gonna end the video here with this fragrance from the house of Rogue Perfumery. It's Mousse Illuminée. Let me know if you're a fan of this one. We featured this in our Scent Club kit last year in the autumn. And I love this. This is one of the best indie perfume houses. This is Rogue Perfumery. Manuel Cross is the perfumer. And if you like a fougere, old school style, you got to check this one out. It's got a lot of Artemisia in here. There's tree moss, frankincense, green cypress, laurel, cedar, white flowers, white musk. So, so unique. It's a bit like Irish spring soap, but not necessarily smelling like it maybe. Kind of in that idea. It's super, super green. Really, really wonderful herb garden, mossy floor come to life. If you haven't tried this, please do. It's Mousse Illuminée from the house of Rogue Perfumery. Anyway, guys, those are 21 fragrances for a man to wear this summertime. Let me know which one of these is your favorite. Add a comment below. And if you have another favorite I did not mention today, do let me know what it is. Please add a comment below. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.